I'm Brad Levitt, president of AFT Construction, and thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel today. We're going to be addressing HOA subdivisions. Many of you work in HOA subdivisions, as do we, and it's real important to understand the regulations and restrictions that each HOA community has, because they will dictate your construction process. They may even dictate the hours that you can work on site, accessibility, and then some of the fees associated. So it's real important to understand those CC&Rs before you start. And another big component, of course, is the neighbors. To be a good neighbor when you're building. A lot of times we can get maybe frustrated by a neighboring property that's complaining about noise or traffic or parking, but it's real important how you handle that neighbor. You know, we found over the years that as you build that rapport and relationship with the neighbors, go knock on the door, introduce yourselves, give them a point of contact. It creates a friendship immediately that helps you throughout the process. And we found that we've actually received additional work through that relationship of being a good neighbor. One of the restrictions we deal with, and this is pretty common throughout all of Phoenix, is a noise ordinance. So every city's different, every HOA is different. In some parts of town in the heat of the summer, where it's really tough for our trades to be outside for a full 8 hours, they'll start at 4 or 5 a.m. Well, the problem is there's a noise ordinance. So in parts of town we can start at 5 a.m., but here in Scottsdale and a lot of these HOA communities, we can't even start before 7. So that's really important to understand where you're working. I mean, even though we do have a project to get completed and we have a timeline, we do have neighbors, and the sound of compressors and generators and saws, can create a lot of angry neighbors. And so part of being an efficient builder is understanding, our complexity to every community and being a good neighbor ourselves, right? We want to come in, be respectful to our neighbors, give them our business cards, say, hey, if anything comes up, let us know if anything's distracting. And as you build that network, as you're working with neighbors and they say, hey, this is a good contractor, like he actually knocked on my house, gave me his card, that way I have a point of contact. Although you may have someone nagging you, if you will, on the flip side, it starts building that network. We have a neighbor down here next to this one that we're building that we're going to be doing a big project for. And the reason being, he was appreciative of the communication of our superintendent, Paul, who's running this job, loved the process, the site cleanliness. And so here's a neighbor that now we're going to have a future project. And it was a straight derivative of what I just mentioned about being a good neighbor. Thank you again for tuning in to our YouTube channel today as we spoke about the HOA as well as being a good neighbor. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.